What's the common denominator? The common denominator is self. So learn to do something different to create a different outcome. To be the difference that the world needs within the areas that we see that need changing. So much potential for good, but yet there's so many individuals out there that just want to hold themselves to the excuses, that want to hold themselves to the delusions and the mental gymnastics that they intertwine with these delusions of why it's always up to somebody else. What's good, everyone? Just out here getting after it once again. You know what it is, and I hope all you guys out there are doing just the same, continuing on this journey to be able to create better individuals to give back to your dogs and your family units. Now, I know I spoke about this earlier, and I know I just made a video on this about being part of the difference that you see within the changes that must be made within the world and your own lives. To be part of the difference within what it is that must be different to benefit the world. But I thought I would go into this with a little bit more of an in-depth description, with a little bit more detail, and the effects that this can have when it comes to our own personal conduct and what it is that we experience within life. As I mentioned, the meaning of insanity is to do the same thing time and time and time again and expecting a different outcome each and every single time. Not understanding that what it is that you are already doing has already led you to what it is that you're experiencing within this outcome. Think about it. And as I also mentioned, this is one of the many reasons of why we are alive. The reasons why we see things through a certain lens, through our own personal perspective. Don't you think that we are shown this so that we can actually be part of the solution within the differences that must be made within the world? Or do you think that it is always up to somebody else to bear the weight of those responsibilities whilst you sit there and cheerlead of why it's always something or someone else, of why it's always something else's fault, instead of actually being part of the solution? Do you not understand that by doing such things that you are actually part of the problem? Why complain about an issue if you are not willing to do anything about it? That's one of the characteristics of a fake virtue hunter, isn't it? And I know that this is going to trigger some, but as I've also said in previous videos, if the shoe fits, wear it. Why do you think I am making this content? Because I have seen issues within society, within the way people hold themselves and conduct themselves within their daily habits and actions, within their own mindsets, and the effects that this has within the relationships with our dogs, within the relationships that we have within our family homes. So why not learn to bear the responsibilities and take this upon yourself to actually do something and to be part of the solution, to be part of the difference that the world needs? Think about it. If you are an individual that lives your life validating why you're unfit, why you're unhealthy, why you're living within instabilities, constantly anxious, depressed, do you think that there is going to be change that comes and stems from doing the same thing time and time and time again? Do you think change is really going to come from a band-aid fix? Nah, of course not. Regardless of what the issues are that we face, we must understand that we must be different, to do different, to have a different outcome. If you are living an unhealthy lifestyle and therefore feeding into an unhealthy state of mind, don't you think that you should change something about your lifestyle instead of sitting there whinging and bitching about it all the time? Why not get out in the sun, get out in the weather? Live life as nature intended us to. Learn to exert your body and your pent-up energy that you have stored within your body, instead of letting it build up and then feed in to your negative mindset, therefore fading into those instabilities. Learn to nurture your own nature as a living being first and foremost. Or do you hate your nature that much that you think that you are the special anomaly of why this fundamental rule of reality does not apply to you? I know a lot of you think exactly that. This is why you hide behind all those band-aid fixes, living your life through escapism, through feeding into your negative desires, because you lack the accountability to uphold the weight of the responsibilities to be able to fulfill these desires in a positive way. That accountability is a bitch, ain't it? Understand it for what it is, but learn to nurture your nature so that you can be part of the difference within the changes that you need, because it is not going to come any other way. If you have issues within the relationships that you have within your life, whether that be from your dogs, with your children, you lack clarity within your communication, you lack trust, respect, and loyalty within the foundation of what your relationships are built upon. Like I said, whether that be between animal or human, ask yourself, where does this really come from? What is it that you are feeding into? Do you need to change the way you hold your frame? Do you need to change the way you conduct your mindset? Do you need to change the way you carry yourself and your personal conduct on a day-to-day basis through your daily habits and actions? Because for a lot of you, that's exactly what it is. How are you supposed to create an individual that others, whether animal or human, can deem trustworthy and dependable, that can be viewed upon as an asset, if you are living your life through delusions? You cannot. How can you create an individual that you yourself deems respectable if you are living in a way that is disrespecting self? Really, think about it. You cannot. Even these individuals that are living their lives through addictions and vices that are directly connected to the other negative desires that you are also feeding into. How are you supposed to create a different outcome of what it is that you're experiencing if you run back to those substances time and time and time again? If you run back to those excuses time and time and time again, if you run away and shy away from owning your shit and holding yourself accountable time and time and time again, of why it's always this fault, of why it's always that individual's fault, of why it's always their problem, not your problem. You're the one feeding into it. What's the common denominator? The common denominator is self. So learn to do something different. to create a different outcome. Think about it. If you have an issue within weak personal conduct, why not learn to conduct yourself within strength? If you have an issue within individuals that lack morality, why not learn to hold yourself to moral conduct within your character first and foremost? Why not learn to become a living example so that you have the right to lead by example first and foremost? Really think deeply about this, because there is a lot of power to be found within this message. Now ask yourself, imagine the changes that could be made within human beings as a species if we understood the power within this. If we understood the changes for positivity and the beneficial changes that could be made if people would actually start doing different, to be different, to have a different outcome, to be the difference that the world needs within the areas that we see that need changing. So much potential for good, but yet there's so many individuals out there that just want to hold themselves to the excuses, that want to hold themselves to the delusions and the mental gymnastics that they intertwine with these delusions of why it's always up to somebody else, of why it's always this situation or that circumstance, of why they can't do anything about it. Understand that there is always something that you can do about your situation, and then how this is going to affect the situation that the world is in. I hope that can provoke some food for thought. God bless. Peace.
What's in tempo? Good boy, yes. Good boy. Boy. Fucking good boy. Fucking good boy. Hayden, boy. Good boy. Good boy, yes sir. Fucking good boy. Fucking watching tempo, watching. Good boy, yes sir. Good boy. Good boy. Fucking good boy.